Hello Internet, my name is Jim, and what I'm going to be talking to you about today is instinctive archery. Now, I get asked a lot when I'm shooting at my club or in general conversations with people. They say, what is instinctive shooting and what are you doing? Because with instinctive shooting you don't use a sight. A lot of archery, especially the Olympic style recurves or compound shooters, they will use a sight where it's a bracket on the front of a bow with a pin, and you put that pin or scope on what you want to shoot, and you adjust it to the distance that you're shooting, and it goes there, which is great, but that's no fun. If you're going to do that, might as well get a rifle. I mean, there are people that will say no, there's a lot more skill to it than that, and there is. I mean, I shot recurve for a number of years, and then I moved to compound, and I shot compound at quite a high level for best part of 15 years, and it was good. It was good fun, but not as fun as shooting instinctively. Now, I've never had as much fun shooting as I do now, and that's when I'm shooting instinctively. It's so pure. It's basically what instinctive shooting is. It gives you the ability to look at a target. You don't need to know the distance. You look at the target, you focus on a point on that target, you draw up, loose an arrow, and it goes there. And that, watching the arrow arc through the air and hit exactly where you're shooting, you can't beat that feeling. That's amazing. It takes a long time to get to that point, but when you do, it's so worth it, and it's so much fun. All you need is a simple bow. You don't need stabilizers. You don't need pressure buttons. You don't need top of the range carbon arrows with spin wings. You don't need clickers. All you need is your eyes, your brain, and a bow, and of course an arrow if you want to shoot it. But that's pretty much all you need, and it's such a natural way of shooting. Basically, they call it instinctive shooting, and probably that's not the best name for it, because instinctive implies that you pick up a bow as soon as you can, say 3 or 4 years old, pick up a bow, start shooting it and start sticking them in the middle, which would be great if that could happen, and I'm sure there are people that can do that. But instinctive shooting it's not as instinctual as you'd think. I mean, it does become instinctual, but it's not when you first start. I mean, what you need to do, you need to train your body and you need to train your brain, and you do this by I mean, there are a couple of different methods, but this is the method I used, and it's the most solid method, and I think it's brilliant. And what that method is, you start at a very short distance, say 10 feet, so very, very short. I mean, you could even go smaller if you wanted. You have a target, whether it's a boss or a 3D target or a bag target, or even if you're just looking at a spot on the ground, just as long as you've got something to shoot at, just a 2-inch spot or something. And what you do, you shoot arrow after arrow after arrow into that spot. And your first couple of arrows, you'll be aiming at a target like this. Your first couple of arrows are all going to be around here. Your next lot of arrows will all be around here. Your next lot will all be around here, until you're getting them all in that spot. And shoot as many arrows as you possibly can till every one of your arrows is straight into that spot. Then what you do, you move back to say 20 foot and do the same. And your groups will close in, and you'll be getting them bang on, which is brilliant. And then you move back and move back and move back. And then when you've done that and taken, that's, you could spend years doing that, and you probably should. But once you've done that, what you're doing is you're committing that distance and the way your body feels when you're shooting at that distance to memory. So your body knows what to do. When you're looking at a target, the calculations are done. They are done by you, but they're done subconsciously. You're looking at a spot. Your brain's thinking, okay, that's such and such a distance. Now the bow needs to be here, and then you just do it, and it works. And it's crazy. And some people won't believe it exists. Some people will point blank refuse to believe that there is such a thing as true instinctive archery. I beg to differ, because that's what I do, but I'm not a liar. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a real thing, and it's the closest thing to magic I think I've ever come across, because it's such a good feeling when you're looking at a spot, at a target on maybe 30, 40 meters away, just a little spot, and you loose an arrow and it hits bang on that spot. There's no greater feeling in the world, and that is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I mean, it takes a long time to train yourself to do it, but my God, it's worth it. You can't explain the feeling. I mean, when I shot compound and I was getting 10, 10, 10, it didn't feel half as good as just hitting a little leaf at 30, 40 meters, bang on. Nothing compares to it. But yeah, I mean, in essence, that's what instinctive archery is. I mean, I find when I try and explain it to people, the people that don't believe that I'm shooting instinctively, they say, oh, you must be looking down the shaft of the arrow, you must be string walking, you must be gap shooting, and I'm not. It's just not what I do. It just doesn't seem to be if you're gonna gap shoot, if you're gonna string walk, if you're gonna face walk, what you're doing is you're putting, a lot of the time, you're putting the point of the arrow on a point on the target and then shooting. Why? Use a sight if you're going to do it like that. Instinctive shooting is such a natural thing. It's amazing. But yeah, well, let me talk about some of the equipment that I use when shooting instinctively. Now, you don't have to use a traditional bow when shooting instinctively. You could use a more up-to-date, modern three-piece aluminum riser takedown bow. You can still shoot it instinctively, but it just feels much better for me to use a traditional bow. Now, this is it's kind of hard to classify. It's some people call it a horse bow. It's not a horse bow. I call it a short, one-piece hunting recurve. Really, it's a field bow from Keith Gascoigne at KG Archery. It's called the Osprey. It's a lovely, lovely bow. I'm going to be doing a full review of this very soon. But yeah, this is an absolutely stunning bow. It's quite inexpensive and it's beautiful. But we'll go into that at a later date. But yeah, that's just a simple bow. That's all you need. Then of course you need some arrows. These are traditional carbon arrows they're the gold tip bear paw timber sticks. You can just get the gold tip timber sticks, but I love these. I use wooden arrows for a very long time. I use cedar, and I love cedar. I still love a wooden arrow, but these are just so much simpler. They're always straight. They're fairly tough. I mean, if you shoot into a brick wall or something, or take a bad miss, they can break. They can sometimes split, sort of at the knock end. But they are great arrows. They're absolutely perfect. I mean, I use four feathers. Some say that slows the arrow down too much. I find it stabilises it incredibly. I use four feathers with left wing feathers with a left helical twist. I just think it looks nice, and it makes the arrow fly quite nicely, which is what you want really. And part of the beauty of shooting instinctively is when you're shooting the right spined arrow, just watching that arrow fly and spin and hit exactly where you want it. There's nothing better. But yeah, that's just the arrows I use. You're going to need a quiver. This is, again, it's a bear paw. I think it's the large bear paw back quiver. Again, it's nice, you can fit a lot of arrows in there, 24 arrows, something like that in there. It's got a nice big pocket, and a general rule of thumb is when I'm out shooting in the field, if it doesn't fit in the quiver, I don't take it with me. So in there I keep a knife for killing bears. No, not killing bears. We don't have bears here. I'm lying. I'm sorry. It's for digging piles out of stumps and things, and occasionally you'll take a bad miss and hit a target frame or something. But it's always useful to, especially when you're in the woods, to have a knife. They're just a nice little useful tool. Keep a stringer in there. I keep my shooting glove in there. Just all manner of bits and bobs. But general rule of thumb, if it doesn't fit the quiver, I don't take it with me. I like to travel light when I shoot, but that is a very nice sturdy quiver. The only trouble is with a back quiver, I think they look absolutely fantastic. Probably not the most practical thing when you're field shooting, because if you're going through the woods, you've got arrows sticking out your back, you're going through some trees, you're always pulling arrows out your quiver on brambles and things, but you look great, which, let's face it, that's the most important thing. So yeah, that's that. Then you're going to need an arm guard or a bracer, and this is just a very simple leather arm guard. You know, you can use the little strips. Some people don't need them, depending on the way their arms put together, how they shoot. It's just a simple arm guard. I quite like that. The most important thing that any archer will ever need, some will tell you it's the bow, some will tell you it's the arrows. I disagree with all that. The most important thing any instinctive or traditional archer needs more than anything else is a shooting hat. Now, if you don't have a decent shooting hat, you're nobody in the archery community. This is my shooting hat. It serves me very well, and I think you'll agree I look damn fine in it. But that's by the by. Let's move on. There is another type of bow, and I'm going to be making a few videos over the next sort of few years, hopefully. I'm going to be talking about different types of bow. This is a traditional English longbow. Now, when I refer to a longbow, I'm going to be talking about a traditional English longbow. Some people call the flatbow a longbow. I don't. I call that a AFB, or American flatbow. This, to me, is a longbow. The reason why America developed a flatbow and we developed this sort of bow, a D-shaped bow, is to do with the wood. The wood that they find in America lent itself better for making a flat bow, where the wood in England suited itself to one of these bad boys. But yeah, this is a Richard Head longbow, one of the finest longbows I've ever shot. It's incredible. Unfortunately, I haven't long been shooting this bow, and unfortunately I can't get the level of accuracy that I get with my Osprey. But it's still a hell of a lot of fun to shoot. But yeah, that's about it as a brief introduction to instinctive shooting. Stay tuned for other videos. I'm going to be doing some reviews. The weather, we're now in British summertime, so theoretically the weather should be getting a lot better, a lot brighter, a lot sunnier. So we'll be out shooting. I went shooting this morning, to be honest with you, and it went terrible. But then you're always going to get bad days. You're going to get days where you can't miss, and then you're going to get days where you can barely keep them on the target. But that's archery for you. It's not. It's you know, that's what it's all about. Some days you win, some days you lose. But I always have fun. Whether I shoot 10 arrows and they all hit the middle, whether I shoot 10 arrows, they all hit the ground. I don't care. I'm having fun. I'm shooting, and that's the best thing about it, really. But yeah, please stay tuned. I have a blog. It's called archeryadventures.tumblr.com. Feel free to check that out. I generally ramble about various other bits and bobs, and well, archery related bits and bobs. Occasionally have a good rant, which is always nice. Get to have a good rant. But yeah, please check out my blog. Please, if you've got any questions, or there's a bit of equipment you want me to review, or If there's an issue what you want me to talk about, please feel free to write a message in the comment section. You know, if there's any constructive criticism, please do. I welcome it. Keep it nice. We're a friendly bunch, us archers. Let's keep it civil. But yeah, well, it's been great talking to you. I hope to speak to you all again very soon. And shoot straight. Take care, guys. Bye bye.